Welcome to Legacy Truths. Today we're going to be talking about cymatics, the walls of Jericho coming down, and possibly some new things that'll be affecting you guys today. And well, let's hop right into it. So I've been thinking about some of the way energy moves through things, through matter, molecules, this kind of stuff. Without getting too scientific, we know that there's sound can travel, and so some of the things I want to be getting in today is really sound frequency, low energy kind of stuff. And let's go ahead and start off with we're going to be using the NIV today for the NIV translation. We're going to be doing Joshua 6, and I believe it starts in 11 here. Let's go ahead and check this out here. So basically, this is the Battle of Jericho, one of the first battles of the Israelites when they were coming into the land of Canaan. And so let's just kind of get into it. Encampment, just early morning priest. So basically, it's talking to on the seventh day, because they've been doing this for about 6 days, and they got up on daybreak and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner. And except on that day, they circled the city 7 times. On the 7th time around, when the priest sounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the army, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city, and the city and all that is in it are to be devoted to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute and all who were with her in her house shall be spared, because she had hid the spies who were sent." It was the spies who went into the city of Jericho before they actually started marching around to see what was going on. Let's move on down here, where it actually talks about when they had trumpeted a loud shout. Okay, so in 22 it says, "When the trumpet sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, all the wall collapsed, so everyone charged straight in, and they took the city. They devoted the city to the Lord and destroyed with sword every living thing in it, men and women, young, old, cattle, sheep, and donkeys." Now you got to understand, though, this was the land of the Canaanites. And the Canaanites they were descendants of the Nephilim. These are the giants. Canaan wasn't Goliath. Believe he was a Canaanite, and his brothers as well. So we can see here that just with mighty shouts and with trumpets, these are really shofars, which is a same thing as a trumpet. It's just more of a Hebrew, I guess, wind instrument, if you will. But you can see they're using sound and shouting, and that the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the walls collapsed. And we can see this as back in earlier times, when they call them parlor tricks, where you'd have this lady who could sing a high C real well, and she would sing and it would literally start to vibrate and fracture glasses. It was a party trick back in the day, and still today at some parties, I guess. And so we can see with just sounds, matter can actually break. A woman high C, she can break glass. We see here in in Joshua, where the walls of Jericho came down by the trumpet blast. And so this is just some of the things that what we can see here in the Bible, where it actually has precedence here, where they've actually used sound waves, and that's actually called cymatics. And that is where basically it's the study of sound waves going through material. And just for an overview, we'll go ahead and we'll slip over to Wikipedia. We know it's not the the most truthful, but for the most part, we can get this kind of stuff. Obviously, this is not going to be the gospel truth on everything, but cymatics, from Greek, meaning wave. It's a subset of modal vibration phenomena, a term which was coined by Haynes Jenny. He lived 1904, 1972. Is known as astrophy. Typically is. So here we go. Typically, the surface plate diaphragm or membrane is vibrated. The regions of maximum and minimum displacement are made for visual in a thin coating particulates, paste, or liquid. Different patterns emerge in the excitatory medium depending on the geometry of the plate and the driving frequency. In layman's terms, let's just do this in layman's terms. Depending on the frequency that you have, different keys, A key, the key of C, the key of D, and this kind of stuff. And those are really just different frequencies. The different frequencies. If you ever had an ear test, and you go and then the ear, nose, and throat doctor is going to tell you, okay, I'm going to put these headphones on. Whenever you hear a beep or a tone, raise the hand that correlates in the ear that you hear the tone in. Beep, and you raise this hand, beep. And so those are different frequencies. And so if you pass those frequencies through like any type of viscous material like water or oil, and even glass may be hard, but it can be, the sound waves can pass through it. So that's basically what it's telling you, is that this thing can actually it excitatory, or it's basically passing through any medium depending on its geometry of the plate. We see here pictures here of the round plate, and so to give you a better understanding of what this type of experimentation is, or what comes of it. Well, what's the reason why? Who cares what salt or what sand shapes they make on top of speakers or vibration plates at certain frequencies? Well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, this is very interesting, and getting into this video is very interesting. And so this is an experiment that basically they took a plate that was able to vibrate. You can hook up an amplifier. It'd be like turning on your speaker, and the cone of your speaker moves up and down, and it has that diaphragm. So that's the same idea, but this is a solid surface. So it's like building a speaker, but with a solid, there is no cone. And then you can basically put frequencies through it, and then you could use sand or salt as a medium that basically will conform to the sound or the frequency that's pushing through the plate. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and hopefully I should have the sound on. So, and they're just kind of turning up the frequency. Let's go up a little bit more here. So I'm not going to show the whole thing here, of course, but you can see that the higher the frequency, the smoother the pattern. And I don't want to show this whole thing. So we can definitely see through that. That gives you somewhat of an idea of what sound can do traveling through. And I believe they're using salt in that video. Salt, and because for some reason it likes to conduct, type of sound conducting. Could be frozen little shards of ice on there, but it's easier to use salt or sand or any type of thing that can move around and vibrate easy on a plate without sticking to it, to give you a good pattern, or give a good, I guess, idea of what the frequency looks like. So we can see these different patterns not only through time, but we can also see them here currently, and that's an experiment that you can even do at your own home. And there's all kinds of clips on the YouTube. And by the way, a lot of these things I'll put links below of the different scriptures and when that come on. But this is really much leading into this kind of bombshell that what does all this have to do with what's happening currently, what's going on? And I would want to direct you guys' attention to this patent, because this patent's pretty amazing. So what you've heard about the Joshua 6, chapter 6, where it talks about the battle of Jericho, the walls of Jericho coming down with trumpets and with shouts, and then we've heard what we found out what cymatics means, and then we've seen a couple of cymatic experiments, or one cymatic experiment, and so we can see that sound does have a very unique effect. And we know that anything that travels in a wave has to have a certain amount of energy. Energy can be measured in volts and ohms and hertz. Any frequency has energy behind it. And if that energy travels in a wave and it can penetrate things like salt through a vibration, well then this U.S. patent number, U.S. What is it? 6,506,148 B2. Now the date of patent was 2003. Let me go ahead and get this here a little bit. And I apologize, I can't get this to fit full screen. Bear with me here. Let me try to zoom up right here. Do page fit. Nope, that's no bueno right there. Let's go a little bit bigger. Okay, this is what we're looking at right here. This right here is what we're looking at. This is a patent for the nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors. Monitors are most likely anything that you're probably watching this video on. It's what I'm talking into right now. It's what's recording my face and then getting processed through the multiple monitors I have that I'm looking at. So we can see that this is a nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors. Electromagnetic, it's a different frequency that they're pumping through monitors. Now we saw earlier what this can do. So let's just quickly read the abstract. Abstract here is, psychological effects have been observed in a human subject in response to stimulation of the skin with a weak electromagnetic field that are pulsed at certain frequencies near the half hertz or 2.4 hertz, such as to excite a sensory response. Many computer monitors, TV tubes, when displaying pulsed images emit pulsed electromagnetic fields of sufficient amplitudes to cause such excitation. It is therefore possible to manipulate the nervous system of a subject by pulsing images displayed on a nearby computer monitor or TV set. For the latter, the image pulsing may be embedded with program material, or it may be overlaid by modulating a video stream either as a RF signal, radio frequency, or as a video signal. And let's just so why was there a big push to go from analog media distribution on a national and almost, I would say, international level to digital? It was a huge push. There were some countries that were almost breaking the law if you weren't able to get your access to a digital TV or some type of analog digital a box that would be a converter, whatnot. So what really caught me on this is the excitation of emotion. This is causing pulsed electromagnetic fields. So if I'm blowing a trumpet, and if you could put on your electromagnetic field glasses and you would see the actual energy emitting from the actual cone of that trumpet, you would see that it's like sound waves, and sound waves aren't, if you could see them, they're actually carrying energy in their different frequencies. And so what this patent is telling us is that between the half hertz or 2.4 hertz, there's such excite to sensory response. You ever watched a video and there's a touching moment and all of a sudden you just feel like you have to cry, and you're not really a crier, but yet you still cry? So you look at this. Now, obviously, this is VCR, VM Gen 6 monitor. So even though this patent was, and let me go back up in here, this patent was a 2003 patent. It was a renewal patent. And this renewal patent is basically, this is something they've been doing like way early on. This is just, what this is doing is, I'll come back down, I'll go down below, and you can see 2003, whatnot. So this is the original. There's your input that's coming through, and here's your monitor. And you can almost see these electromagnetic fields coming out of here. And what is this? What's this exciting? So let's get down a little ways. So we can also see there's different ways. They're showing you the actual electrical schematic or the electrical engineering of how to take these and overlay and do pulse rates with different, you get little frequency breakers here. And of course we can go back and, so, now you think it's okay for just a TV? No, what I'm talking to you in right now. Now, these look like an old tube monitor, but remember, they're electromagnetic frequency that they can embed. It's easier to do that on a digital source or a digital feed. We even see two antenna. We get those over-the-air antennas. So we keep on going down. Now, we'll go in here. I want to go down a little bit further because it shows. Here we go. This is what I was looking for right here. So you see this right here? Internet. And you see this, right? Computer. This is, so you're plugged into the internet. They can do this remotely. Remote computer. So this isn't no longer back in the day where they had to have a machine hooked up and get all this from tape, like, here we go, from old DAT tapes. And they're going through this kind of stuff. Now, this is the old, what was that, cathode ray? I think that's what it is, those old CRT televisions. But look at this. I mean, this is amazing what they're showing here. Variability routine. I mean, you could switch it up. We can still get the signal through. We can go from VCR or right from the generator, right itself. DVD. So this is the actual formula breakdown of the electric field pulse amplitude. I don't know what R is, but equals a square root of screen area and pi. So if it's a 17-inch screen or a 64-inch screen, computer monitor, tube, TV, this is the distance and whatnot, how much actually energy they got to put out. So it's out there, people, and we know that there's even a biblical precedence on the fact that this stuff does work, and it has worked. And this is something that we're thinking that this was, they blew some trumpets and the walls came down. This is real stuff. It can change the little physical materials that we think are solid. And so I want to basically leave you guys with this, because all this doom and gloom and what can we do as believers to arm ourselves or guard ourselves against this? Like, I mean, if this stuff can penetrate the walls, I mean, there is no defense of this. I mean, you can't wrap up in tinfoil and walk around like, one big giant tinfoil armor. But what you do is you put on the whole armor of God. And people say, put on the armor of God, put on the armor of God. Ephesians 6:11 says, put on the armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil, or the fiery arrows, or the temptation, and in fact, let's go ahead and pull this up, because what is the armor of God? I mean, is it put on the whole armor of God? What is that? What does that mean? Because if this right here can save you from these electromagnetic fields. It says Ephesians chapter 6, starting in verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And I believe this is the King James version. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto your whole armor of God, for that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, and having the breastplate of righteousness. Have your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Praying always with the prayer of supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all preservation and supplication for all saints. Wow, wow, praise God, man. I'm telling you what, this is... So you want to know how to protect yourself against this. When you go to bed at night, pray for the full armor of God and stand with it. Say, give me the shield of faith. Give me the breastplate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, and which is really the Word of God. And this is what's going to protect you guys. And this is something that I pray that everyone does as a way to counter this, because there's no human way to counter this stuff. So I thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and share this video. And I'll put the all the links in the description. Thank you, and God bless.